This photo was taken in 1973 in Saigon, while U.S. troops were still stationed in Vietnam. The image was captured by American photographer Chick Harrity as he wandered after a press conference at the Independence Palace. The sight of the two children stopped him in his tracks. A tiny little girl, wearing nothing but a single shirt, lay curled up inside a cardboard box. Next to her was her skinny older brother, with a begging bowl placed on the ground in front of them. The baby girl's small hands reached out, clutching tightly to her brother's hand, as if letting go would cause the whole world to disappear. The photograph became known as Baby in the Box. When the Associated Press, AP, distributed the image, it shocked the entire United States. Thousands of phone calls flooded in. More than 2,000 American families offered to adopt the baby in the box. Chick Harrity had no idea that, in that single moment, the life of the child in the cardboard box and his own life would be changed forever. 32 years later, the child in a famous photo, saved by an American mother, reunited with her photographer. The story took place in February 1973. After Chick Harrity, a photographer working for the Associated Press, AP, accidentally captured the fateful baby in the box photograph. He had been assigned to the Independence Palace to cover President Thieu's morning press conference under the Republic of Vietnam government. Once AP released the photo, it quickly became red-hot news across American newspapers and television stations, especially in New York. At the time, the AP office phones were ringing off the hook. Countless people called in, asking for information about adopting the two children. Chick Harrity reached out to the AP Bureau in Saigon, asking Vietnamese staff to help locate the children's family. They took the photo to the nearby sidewalks, asking around the neighborhood, and eventually tracked down where the two kids were living. There, Chick Harrity met a thin, worn-out Vietnamese woman, the mother of the two children. They lived together in a small, impoverished house. The woman had 5 children in total, and the baby lying in the cardboard box that day was her youngest, named Tran Thi Het. Her husband was in the military, and his pay wasn't enough to feed 7 mouths. Every day was a struggle to keep everyone fed. Out of desperation, the mother had no choice but to let her 2 children beg on the streets. When Harrity told her that many families in America wanted to adopt the 2 children, the mother immediately refused. No one, not even poverty, was allowed to tear apart the bond between her and her children. To her, giving them up meant losing them forever, but fate didn't let her have her way. Little Het was born with a congenital heart defect, and her condition grew worse by the day. Without modern medical equipment and treatment, the little girl had little chance of survival. The mother understood all too clearly. If she kept her daughter close, the child would die. That harsh reality crushed the poor woman's heart. In the end, in unbearable pain, she turned to a Catholic charity organization and placed Tran Thi Het in the Holt Orphanage with only one wish: that her daughter would receive treatment and live. A year later, in 1974, the charity decided to bring Het to the United States for medical care. From that moment on, mother and daughter never saw each other again. According to the organization that brought the child to America, they later returned to Vietnam to search for Het's family, but the entire family had moved to Da Nang. Eventually, they learned that Het's mother had passed away from pulmonary tuberculosis, and the remaining relatives had disappeared without a trace. No one knows what thoughts she carried with her when she left this world. All that is known is that she never got to see her daughter again, the daughter she had been forced to give up in order to save her life. News spread widely that the main subject of the baby in the box photo was receiving heart treatment in the United States. More than 2,000 compassionate people stepped forward, offering to adopt Het. The child at death's door and the great love of an American mother. In Springfield, Ohio, Evelyn Warrenheil, an American teacher, also saw the photo in the newspaper. She recalled, "When I saw your picture in the paper, I saw your wide-open eyes full of fear, staring straight at me with a strange urgency. At that time, you were being treated for your heart condition by Dr. Din Cooley, who had brought you from Saigon. The moment I saw your face in the baby in the box photo on the page, I immediately tried to get to the hospital right away to hold you in my arms. You looked so pitiful, your face full of fear." Evelyn prevailed over thousands of applicants and was chosen to adopt Het. She later said it was a miracle. Deeply moved, she said, "I was very persistent, and they knew I had a lot of knowledge about nutrition. Then one day, they came to my house and rode with me to pick up my kid from school. Before we reached the school, they told me I had been selected. I cried with joy and couldn't keep driving. I had to pull over to the side of the road to hold back the overwhelming emotion. I couldn't believe it. A miracle had happened." And we should also remember that America's failure to protect Saigon had left you as an orphaned refugee child. That actually made it easier to adopt you. On October 10th, 1974, you officially became my daughter. My family brought you home. I already had 4 sons, and you became the princess of our family. Her eldest son gave the new little sister the name Nanny. From then on, Het had a new name, Nanny Heil. But at that time, little Nanny was hovering near death's door. At 3 years old, she weighed only about 5 to 6 kilograms. She also had ear problems that affected her hearing and speech. Evelyn was extremely worried and did everything she could to care for Nanny, but the girl still developed much more slowly than other children. Nanny's frail body could give out at any moment. Evelyn already had 4 boys. Balancing her teaching job while caring for a child who was not her own flesh and blood, and who carried so many health issues, was incredibly difficult and required an immense, extraordinary love. With all the love of a mother, Evelyn established the Warren Learning Center so Nanny could have the opportunity to learn there. In 1983, to raise more funds for the center, she asked media outlets to help with the donation drive. After Evelyn Heil's noble act, a growing wave of Americans seeking to adopt Vietnamese orphans emerged, especially in the period leading up to April 1975. The first reunion after 10 years. 10 years after being adopted, in 1983, when Nanny was 12 years old, she was invited to the White House to meet President Ronald Reagan. And it was there that she met Chick Harrity again for the first time, the man who had taken her photo all those years ago. By then, Harrity no longer worked for the AP. He had become a White House correspondent. Coincidentally, a friend who had worked with him at the AP Saigon Bureau called to tell him that the little girl from the cardboard box photo he once took would be at the White House meeting President Reagan, and arrangements were being made so he could see her again. For years after the photo was published, Harrity had often thought about that child and wondered how she was doing now. However, the reunion didn't turn out the way he had hoped. When Harrity handed Nanny the baby in the box photo, she became very frightened. The little girl really hated that picture. Harrity recalled, "I gave the little girl the photo I had taken years before, but she surprised everyone, and me. She refused to take it and got very angry. I didn't understand why. And as time went on, I kept wondering about it in my heart." The second reunion after 22 years. Time passed, and 22 years after that first meeting with Nanny, Chick Harrity had achieved considerable success in his career. He had photographed many presidents and captured images that went down in history. Yet for him, the baby in the box photo remained one of the most special of all. In 2005, he was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award. during the ceremony, without any prior warning, the organizers suddenly announced that Nanny Heil would be the one presenting the award to Harrity.
Chick, 30 years ago, with a simple click of the shutter on a crowded Saigon street, you truly captured a moment that triggered compassion around the world. People were so moved by that tiny image, that image of that tiny girl, beyond the daily grind of war. The baby in the box was rescued later and adopted by American parents who gave her a second chance at life. Chick, as one of our gifts to you, to help you present your White House News Photographers Association Lifetime Achievement Award, is the baby in the box, Nanny Heil, living proof of the power of your photography.
Harrity was completely stunned and deeply moved. The memory of the little girl, Tran T. Het, angry and terrified when he handed her the photo 22 years earlier, had always weighed on his heart. He once said, "When I met her back then, she looked so tiny for a 12-year-old. I gave her the photo I had taken years before, but she surprised everyone and me by refusing it and getting very angry. I didn't understand why, and as time went by, I kept wondering about it in my heart. It wasn't until the day 32 years after I took that photo that I finally found relief. It turns out that in her innocent young mind, she was afraid that if anyone saw the picture, they would send her back to Vietnam. Today, the young woman presenting the award to me is completely different." He added, "I was utterly shocked and moved, tears streaming down my face. The reunion came so unexpectedly. The moment Tran T. Het, Nanny, presented the award to me made me even more convinced. This is proof that my photographs changed someone's life, and I hope there will be other cases like this." For her part, Nanny Heil was deeply emotional as she shared what had happened in her life. Having grown up in America since childhood, she didn't speak Vietnamese, but she had never forgotten her origins. She was mature enough to understand what Mr. Harrity had done for her, and she felt immense gratitude. Another person who was incredibly important to her was her adoptive mother, Evelyn Warren Heil, who had given her a second life and loved her with all her heart. Nanny said, "I think I'm the luckiest person. I got to meet my mom, who gave me a new life. I know I still have a father and brothers in Vietnam, and sometimes I wonder how they're doing now. I don't know how to find them. I really don't know what to do." On August 21st, 2008, Evelyn Warren Heil, Nanny's beloved adoptive mother, passed away at the age of 78. Nanny later married and had 3 children, settling in Springfield, Ohio. Throughout her life, the reunion with Harrity was probably the most unforgettable and meaningful event. For Chick Harrity, Baby in the Box remains the single most important photograph in his career. He said, "It's a wartime photo without a trace of gunfire. It's like something on the sidelines, yet stands out. What touches the heart will live forever. Because that's real life.